Hey everyone, welcome to another session of Global Developer Student Club Heritage Institute of Technology, Kolkata. I am today's speaker, Polab Phomik. So today's session is on open source, as you all know, that open source collaboration and through contributions. So let me present my screen. Am I audible and visible? Can anyone let me know? Okay, so I guess it's time to start the session. Just a second. Okay. Thank you, Shubham, Shomili, Navonel, Shishti, Mandrita, Shumon, Devajyoti. Okay, so I am Polab Phomik, the open source lead for World Developer Student Community HITK this year. I have been a former project intern at TimeChain Labs through TimeChain Summer of Code, something that I'll be covering in the coming time. Um, is my screen visible? Okay, so yeah, this is my Twitter handle at I am Polab. You can follow me there. I shit post a lot all the time. So yes. So the as the session's name, that is open source. Open source, this term open source has been booming around a lot recently in the recent times. Like everyone is talking about open source. Like start contributing to open source. You should get into open source. But what is this? Open source this, open source that. What is open source? Um, in a lighter note, if I start, what even is it? So open source has a lot of references, right? Open source can be referred to an open platform for developers. Open source can be referred to innovation. Open source can be referred to collaboration. And also, agree or disagree can also be referred to free labor. But yeah, a golden tip, do not say this to anyone in the public, otherwise something like this might happen to you. And also, yes, even if your code is open source, this won't be the society that you'd be looking at. Now that the joke is out of the way, what is open source in a like serious term? I don't know how many of you have heard of the term potluck. What potluck is basically, as you can see, in potluck, people from various communities or like societies come together, they bring their own cooked dishes and they keep it on the table, they share the food among one another, they eat others' food, others eat their food, and like it is like a good event where everyone shares their like food that they have brought. Open source can be referred to like the dishes that are present can be referred to your code bases, the code that you have written, the project that you have done. Instead of the food dishes, you have your code bases that you have given or like brought into a platform. What is the platform? The platform is GitHub, something I'll be covering in some time. So like you have brought all of your code bases here together and like you can contribute to like others code bases. Now the term contribute, what does contribute actually mean in open source? Like the most common term in open source is contribution. What is contribution? Contribution is like I have my code base, I have given it to you, like yes, this is my code, you can make changes to it. You are contributing to my code because you are not getting paid for it, but you are doing it for the sake of the community, for the sake of collaboration. So yes, this is what contribution basically means. So what is happening is that you are bringing your code base here, I am bringing my code base here, and you can contribute to my code base, you can make changes to my code base, and if I find that useful, I would be like taking it into my, like I'd be taking the commit into my code base. Okay, so I get it. This is what open source is. It is an open platform where everyone brings their own code bases and everything. But what's this all fuss about? What are the benefits of open source in general? Open source has a lot of benefits. If I point it down, as you can see, open source leads to collaboration and innovation. Open source leads to transparency and trust, cost effectiveness, flexibility, and the most important, that is skill development. Okay, so now you might be having some questions. Let me go one by one into all of them. The first is collaboration and innovation. So, Paula, how can open source help us in collaboration? Whenever you are into others' projects, whenever you are going through their projects, you feel like contributing to their code base or doing some changes. What basically happening is that you are talking or you are like making some changes, X number of changes to this. You are then talking to the project manager or someone who has wrote that code. So what is happening is you are collaborating with that person, with another developer who has done something, and you are changing some X amount of stuff into their code. So it is leading into collaboration between you and that person. So, and also, like, if you have your code base given on deployed on somewhere and someone is making changes, you are like collaborating with them, you're talking to them like, yes, this is your code, I like, this is the change I need, and this is the change you have done, like this. Now, the next point that comes is open source leads to collective effort, often leads to innovative solutions. Think about it in this way. Whenever you are making a project, when you are developing something, a lot of the times you lead to some issues. You lead to a problem like, yeah, this is a problem I'm stuck into. How can I give a solution of this? And a lot of the times it is a normal nature that we might not find a solution to that. But if your code is open source, if you are collaborating with other people, they might give you a solution, like some innovative solutions to this, like, yes, you can make this change for this problem, and these are the things that you can do for that. And this is leading to some innovative solutions, and also can help you get out of that loop where you are stuck in like one place, that what should I do, what should I not. This is helping you in two things, that is collaborating with that developer. You are like getting to network with people from all over the world. And let me tell you, open source is not just about a local place or something. You can literally connect with people from another parts of the world, from other countries and other places. So you are connecting with them, you are coming together, you are making changes, and you are also learning through this. This is the first benefit of open source, that is collaboration and innovation. Next comes transparency and trust. Now, you might have attended the blockchain event by Aman Bhaiya. So, what is the main thing about blockchain? Blockchain is transparent. The transactions you are making is visible to everyone inside of the blocks. That is the transaction hash ID. Open source is no different. Also, there are nothing about transactions. Open source, what is happening is that if you have deployed your code in GitHub ever, or like I will be showing you in the coming sessions, whenever you are putting your code base or like the whatever you have done in a platform, for example GitHub, you are giving access to everyone on that platform, or even not on that platform, to see your code. Everything that you have written, all the components, all the functions, state variables, everything is visible to them. How you are writing your code, what you do first, what are the modules you are like importing, everything they can see. What it does is that this is giving a transparency, like, yes, I have made my product, this is how I have made my product, and yeah, so these are the changes that I can do, and these are the things that he has done. So there is nothing to hide from anyone in open source projects. Now the next point comes is that the transparency builds the trust among the users. So obviously, if there is transparency between two developers or two individuals, there comes this trust that, yes, these are the things that he has done, and nothing is being hidden from me. I know everything from A to Z about this product and this project that I might change or I might contribute to. Also, this is leading to some like identifying some potential security or privacy concerns. Like, if I take the example about Solidity, that is Ethereum's programming language. So in Solidity, what happens is that once you have written the code and deployed on the blockchain, you cannot make any changes to this. So if you are an individual writing your own code and mining a block in the blockchain, what happens is that if there is any potential risks or failures in the coming time, then you cannot change anything. So once you are deployed in the block, so it is for all times. Now, if your Solidity code is deployed in GitHub, now someone else, like if I can see that code, I can see that, yes, this is the issue that there might be. I can tell them, I can create an issue, or I can like tell them, yes, this is the issue that you might be facing in the coming time. You can change your code from this to this, and they can then change it and get rid of that potential failure or potential risk that could have been happening if it was not open source and if it was like only an individual's project. Next, cost effectiveness. As you can see the image, One of the major important points about open source is that its cost effectiveness. Basically, open source is free for every single person or individual. If I read the lines, many open source tools and frameworks are freely available, reducing costs and for individuals, businesses, or organizations. You might know, like the VLC media player, web browser that is Firefox, or even operating system like Linux. All of them are open source. They can be customized, they can be changed according to you. You can download them, you can use them free of cost. What it does is that you don't need to pay hefty amount of money for any of the softwares to be used, any of those products, or any functionality that you need for yourself. Also, the second point that is very important, that is the cost savings can be significant, especially for any startup or educational institutions. Right? Why is that? Like if I'm making a personal project of my own and I want all of the functionalities that this X software might be providing, but those are paid. I don't want to pay because this is my project. I won't be earning from this. I want some alternative open source project somewhere I can like use it for free and make my project. But here all those functionalities would be there, just I am not paying for it. So it helps a lot for this budding startups, for any personal project that you are making, so that you don't have to pay any money for this. Next comes flexibility and customization. Well, obviously, if I read what is written, open source softwares provides flexibility, allowing users to tailor and that software to their specific needs. Now, I am a person who might have this requirement. You are a person who has written your code according to your own requirement. Our requirements might not be the same. If your code base was not open source, if it was not available to me to customize according to my needs, what would have happened is that it would have created a boundary where I have to stay in that particular boundary to work with your software. But in open source, what it is doing is it is giving me flexibility where I can make the any changes I want in the software that you have, and I can use it according to my needs. Like developers can modify the source code to create custom features or address unique requirements. Just as I said, like I have this requirement of mine that I might use, and you had some other requirements. I would customize your code, I would use it according to my needs, and this is how I'd be changing this thing. Okay, so this comes on flexibility and customization. And the last and the most important point, that is the benefit of open source from learning and skill development. Trust me, whenever you are learning something, and the major part, like the major benefit of open source is that it is not limited to a particular domain or a particular programming language. You can be a blockchain developer, you can be an AIML developer, you can be a web developer, app developer, anything. Open source platform, GitHub, or any other platforms have everything to offer to you. If you are learning any of these things, you can contribute to projects, you can like contribute to any of this and learn through this way, through this process of contributing. How, you may ask? So like in these platforms like in GitHub, you might also you might find some projects which are very amateur, like those are written by individuals who do not have that experience. But also large companies, large organizations have their code bases deployed on GitHub. If you are going through this code bases, you get to know the commercial, like production value code bases that are ready to use, ready to deploy anywhere, and they would run like fine. You are going through those code base, you are learning from them, you are seeing how they are like customizing their code, what type of modules they are using, what type of frameworks they are using, that is the like cutting edge technology, as they say. So from there you can contribute to whatever you want in that project and learn from it. Contributing to open source projects is an excellent way for developers to enhance their skill, gain real world experience, and build a portfolio. Like I said, like enhancing the skills from like real world projects that you are working upon. And this point, that building a portfolio. Polo, I am contributing to someone else's project. How is my portfolio being built? Okay, good question. I will tell you, like I will show you an example where contributing to open source has helped me and like other people also. Many a times what happens is that many startups or budding companies, they hire individuals seeing their GitHub profiles. Yes, they might not even see their like resume or CV. For example, if I tell you, In my first year, I contributed to a program that is time change summer of code. But in first year, I did not have any resume as such, no experience, nothing. But they saw my GitHub profile. I was in the top two in that program, and I got selected for an internship and a sponsored trip to Hyderabad. This is how you can build your portfolio surrounding GitHub or surrounding open source contributions, valuable open source contributions, that is. Next is the collaborative nature of open source facilitates continuous learning and knowledge sharing. This relates to all the points that we talked about. That is the collaborative nature of open source. That is like you are collaborating with other developers. You are talking to them. You are seeing whatever solutions you can provide to their code bases. They are seeing what solution they can provide to your code base. And this is continuous learning. You have a problem statement to work on. You have a skill you know you have right now. You have something like to learn for this problem statement, and you are learning according to this and also upskilling yourself. Okay, so if I go back, these are the benefits of open source that I talked about. That is collaboration and innovation, transparency and trust, cost effectiveness, flexibility and customization, and learning or skill development. That's a lot to take in. Okay, what next? I get it what open source is. I get it what are the benefits of open source, why I should get into open source. Now the main question that you are asking right now is where to start. As Samay Raina saying, तो अब करे तो करे क्या? And the easiest answer for me to give to you would be just start contributing. But if I say that and leave it to you guys, this would be a reaction, obviously. Like, what? Where to start? What to do in this huge place, in the huge genre that is open source? Okay, let's get into it. For starting, like getting into open source, the first thing that you would need to do is learn Git, GitHub, and version control. These are some like in-depth topics. I won't be going too much into it in today's session. I'll be like covering just the gist of it. Okay, so what is version control? As you can see, the first point that is learn about version control. Then it is learn Git and Git commands. That is the software. That is the platform for version control, and GitHub that has all these Git commands. First things first. What is version control? For example, if I talk about you are like coding, you are making a project, you have made some changes to your project in your IDE. For example, I'll be talking about VS Code. You are writing your code in VS Code. You have made some changes. You have closed your software. After that, you have come back. You have made some other changes. You are keeping your changes in a different folder. For like for this time A, you made your changes in version 1 of your folder. For the time B, you contribute like you changed some code and you kept it in version 2 of your folder. So what you are doing is that you are keeping these things to yourself. These are the various versions that I am talking about in version control. Second, control. What does the control term mean here? In Git, what Git does is that it has a log of all your controls, like the history that the changes you are making. Version control is the practice of tracking and managing the changes to software code. You have given a certain code that you have written to your friend. Your friend made some changes. He gave you a newer version of that code back to you. So you had a version of the code that you wrote. Your friend gave you another one. This like the all of the software that controls it or keeps it is version control. This entire thing, any modification or any changes to your database. Okay, cool. Now, a question you might be asking is that, Olaf, I am writing my code in my environment in VS Code and everything. Where are these versions coming from? You would be saying is that you don't even need version control if you don't have any versions to talk about, right? And I would be saying to you is that it does not work that way. Okay, how does it work? In GitHub, if you like in later sessions we'll be covering, there are commits. What are commits? There are changes that you are making. You have to push it into the like code base, and these are the commits. So all of the history that is being maintained, these are the various versions of your code base, right? So next, Git and GitHub. That's what I was saying. Like you have made some changes to your folder like code, and you have kept in a separate folder, and then made some changes, kept it a different folder. So you can see that image, like GitHub is for noobs, and you can like just keep in different folders, but please do not do that. That would be like torturous for your personal computer or laptop. So yeah, what is Git and what is GitHub? Git is the version control system, as I was saying in the last slide. It was created by Linus and Torvalds in 2005. That's that. But Git is not the same as GitHub. People often get confused about Git and GitHub. Git is just a system that is a version control system that keeps track of the changes that you're making, that has a different type of commands to like work on different code bases and everything. GitHub basically provides you a platform, gives you a place where you can use these tools, that is a Git, various Git commands and everything. You can keep your code bases there. That is GitHub. All right. So, what have we talked about till now? We have spoken about what is open source. Do not say free labor, anyone, please. On a serious note, what is open source? We have spoken about the benefits of open source. What is how to start, how to get into open source. Then Git and GitHub version control. We have spoken about this. Now, if you have learned about Git, you have learned about GitHub from various videos. For example, you can go to check Kunal Kushwaha's video or Eddie out. There are various YouTubers. You can like go and learn the various commands to use Git and GitHub. Now the next thing is, after what should I do after this? What is the starting platform for users or like developers who are new to this space, who are new to open source? For me, where I started is various open source programs. This comes very handy for any beginners. Even I, when I was a beginner, I started contributing to these programs. That is GitHub Summer of Code, a Girl Script Summer of Code, Social Summer of Code, and Timestamp Summer of Code. As I was talking about Timestamp Summer of Code. So yes, these open source programs are very beneficial for you. Why is that? These are good starting points with very basic projects. You don't have industry level projects in this. You will get industry level projects in other programs I'll be talking about. But basically, what happens is that, for example, if I talk about Girl Script Summer of Code 2023, in that there were around 130 projects given by different developers, different project admins. Among them, I contributed to around 35 of them. I was once in the top two all over the world. After that, because of other reasons, hackathons and all, I came in top 25. But yeah, it was a good starting point. Why? Because when you are contributing to easier projects, to like places where you get to learn things from, you are basically learning to use GitHub. You are learning how to do this, do that, and then get comfortable in that area. And getting comfortable is the most important, so that you can then go on to doing bigger works in that space. So yes, these are some good starting points with basic projects and spaces for learning how to use and work on GitHub and communicate with others. And let me tell you about this thing. As I have seen that open source communities, like you have heard of the term MLH, Major League Hacking, or any other communities that I've been a part of, open source communities are the best communities in the world for you. They help you a lot in any learning any skills in any other things, and they are very generous. You can ask for any help. You are stuck in any problem, you can just talk to them and like learn from them. Okay, so yes, as I was saying about resumes and all, this is you can see in Timechamps of Code, I was in the top two for once, and I contributed a lot to them. And for that, they offered me a project internship, and I went for a sponsorship trip in Hyderabad. This you can also like get a motivation from this to start and contribute to open source programs, like join various programs, and so that you can also get to go somewhere. You can also get to develop your portfolio, your resume, even your GitHub profile and everything. Okay, so Polo, I am done learning Git and GitHub. I am done contributing to starter projects and doing all these programs. Now what? Now comes the big games. Here comes Google Summer of Code, MLH Fellowship, Hyperledger Mentorship Program, Summer of Bitcoin, and there are many others from where you can actually start earning money. Yes, and I'm not talking about just some thousands of rupees or anything. What are these? As you just saw in Girl Script Summer of Code, Social Summer of Code, all of this, what they do is they give you some basic projects for you to contribute on. These are the same. Like if I go one by one in Google Summer of Code, they there are legit organizations. For example, there are OpenStreet. Like you have heard of Google Maps, there is an alternative to that open source alternative, that's OpenStreetMap. There are many other repositories. There are software companies and everything who have their open source projects, and they keep it so that you can contribute to them. You can make some valuable changes or valuable additions to their project. And if they find your project, like if your work valuable to them, to their organization, they will offer you a stipend of 2,500 US dollars. It is in Google Summer of Code. You have to work under them for a few months, and then you get to like, if your work was good, you also get offers from Google themselves to join their company, or those companies which are like working and have their projects there. If I talk about MLH Fellowship, what MLH Fellowship basically does is that you have to give your projects or like your works that you have done, and they would see if you are like good for that podium. In MLH Fellowship, a podium is basically nothing but various domains like app development, web development, and blockchain, all of this. And they also offer around, I guess, up to 4 or 5,000 US dollars. They are like an amazing place to earn some money and like in your college time, obviously. Hyperledger mentorship program is a blockchain open source program. There are some problem statements from various organizations. You get to contribute to or like do a project on that problem statement, and also they pay around $3,000. Summer of Bitcoin is similarly, that is also a blockchain open source program. You contribute to those projects that are available, and these are just similar, just that with Google Summer of Code, MLS Fellowship, and all of this, the I would say once you're experienced in open source space, you get to do some bigger works and like actual industry level works in all of this, so that you get this amount of money paid, and also like grow your network, talk to other people, learn a lot. Okay, so all of this is covered right now. What are starting place for you as a beginner in open source, then what to do after that, what to learn and everything. Hold up. Today I am doing a session. I have covered all of these things. And now, what should I do next? Like, as you spoke about all of this, the summer of code, all this come in the middle of the year, around May to June. And as Google Summer of Code comes around February, MLH Fellowship come every 6 months, and also around February to March. What should I do next? Next thing for you to do, a good starting point right now, is social, not summer of code. This will be social winter of code, GScript winter of code, and JWoC. What is JWoC? That is JGEC. You might have heard of the college. That is JGEC winter of code. All of them have some great open source programs available, just like this. So you can start contributing to them. You have some basic projects available. You can go start there once you have learned all of this stuff, and get along, like get comfortable in this environment, in this space. Okay, so I guess that's it for today. This was the session, guys. Thank you for joining in. I hope you have learned something about open source and how it works, the communities around it, and everything. So what's next? Let's see. Let's have some cliffhanger, boys and girls. In the next session coming up, we'll be talking about, like, not even talking about, we'll be going through Git and GitHub hands-on work. We'll be learning Git commands, various how to use them. Just you can't just give them voice commands, right? You have to write something. You have some various commands that you would be using, and also how to like set up GitHub repository. What is a repository, you might ask? A repository is a code base where you have your entire code deployed, that nothing else, and how to use VS Code directly to deploy to GitHub and everything. And yes, it's about to get real serious right now. That is the session. Thank you for joining in. Also, don't forget to like this video, share to everyone who is new to open source, and also follow us on our socials. That is GDSC as Instagram handle, Twitter, LinkedIn. All of those will be available in the video's description, live sessions description. Go check them out. And that's it. Thank you for joining. Hope you have a great time and see you in the next sessions, be it virtually or like in our college. Thank you. And if you have any questions, you can ask me, or like the session is over right now.